Hello, everyone. So, this is about the 4.11 descriptive poem or essay that will be due today. So, we're going to learn how to do that so that we can better appreciate and understand poetry and imagery. And when we complete the poem and essay, we'll know that we've got it. And why you need this is so that you can better appreciate poems and lyrics that you encounter in everyday life. So, you can choose between 1 to 2 activities. You can write a descriptive poem, at least 6 lines long, about a physical thing or an experience. Use sensory details, touch, taste, sight, etc., but there must be at least 2 of these. And your goal is to make your reader see, hear, touch, taste, or smell the thing you are describing. You can use any poetic structure you want, such as free verse, verse with rhyme and meter, or verse with meter and no rhyme, etc. The second choice is to write a descriptive paragraph, and that means one long 8-sentence paragraph. So I'll be looking for 8 sentences. It needs to be about a place or an object or an experience, like a moment in time, not the story of it. It should use showing language to describe the details using the senses, sight, taste, smell, touch, etc. Of course, you need to still use 2 senses at least in the paragraph, and the same goal is in place. So, how do you write a descriptive poem or essay? That's very easy. It's not a characters and plot story kind of thing. Okay, if you do choose to do a kind of event that happened, think of it like a moment in time, like a unified thing, not beginning, middle, and end. So think of like if you're doing a helicopter ride, you might describe the sights, sounds, emotions of the ride. Or you might describe the helicopter itself, but you do not include the sequence of events that occurred, like we got on the helicopter, it took off, I heard the beating. No, you don't want it to be a story. We want it to be a poem or a paragraph that's descriptive, and that means that it's a moment in time. So basically, you're describing something with your 5 senses. That's the big deal. So if you focus just on the 5 senses, you're going to be good to go. So these are examples of descriptive poetry. The first one's by an unknown author. It's called A Dragon Poem, and I'm going to read that one to you. My dragon has eyes as round as dinner plates. It has sharp teeth like daggers. Its mouth is dark and wide as a cave. It has claws which are as pointed as needles. Its nose lets out plumes of smoke like a chimney. Its body is as huge as an ocean whale. Its tail flicks from side to side like it's an angry cat. It sits silently, waiting to catch its prey. So this one uses lots of descriptions about just what the dragon looked like, and a little bit about, how he presents himself as far as his personality, an angry cat. With yours, you want to make sure you also include, if you're doing mostly sight, at least include one of the other senses as well. If you'd like, you can pause the video here and read Smoke by Thoreau, which is the second one. And then there's also a third one, Summer Shower, by I do not know who, because I forgot to write it on here. But I greatly apologize for that mistake. But these are all great examples of descriptive poetry. It's not a moment in time. It's not a story, it is a moment in time. Alright, so your goal is to complete it right now. Don't wait for full points, which is 40 full points, so it's a pretty good chunk. What I will be grading for, which I'm basically grading on completion, so I'll be looking to make sure that it is a physical thing or experience. So a physical thing could mean, a house or a person or an apple, that kind of thing. And the experience is not a story, but a moment in time. So at that moment, what was going on? What did you feel, see, hear, taste, touch, smell. All right, I'm also looking that there's at least 2 of the senses used, and it needs to be a certain length. So it's got to be either 6 lines of poetry or 8 sentences for a paragraph. And you need to make sure to use at least 3 adjectives. So you'd get 30 out of 30 points as far as the scoring is concerned, but you'd actually end up with 40 points total. All right, best way to do this, one of the best examples I can give you is pretend that you're an alien from outer space, but you know some English. It is important that you get this exact item, which will help you fuel your UFO, but you do not know what it's called. So what adjectives would you use to describe it, and what senses would you use to describe it? Give yourself a moment, pause it here, and think about it. All right, you've unpaused, you're back now. So examples of adjectives that could be used for this, what's in this picture. You could be saying prickly, or if you're talking about the taste of it, sweet, the top of it, the leaves are soft. There's a gold cylindrical item on the top. Oblong, abnormal, black spots on the front. So it's kind of giving just like those adjective pieces describing what it's like. You can also do the senses themselves, like it smells sweet, it looks prickly and yellow and black and some brown and a little bit of green on top with the gold hat thing on the side, etc. So you want to make sure that you use at least 2 senses and 3 adjectives in your description, whether it be poem or paragraph. I've also included an outline for creating a poem if you'd like to use it. All you'd have to do is just make a statement about the object or moment in time using the different senses here, and it'll allow you to make sure that you have all senses in it. Just make sure that you also use adjectives whenever you're doing it. So like I was saying before, it's a funny looking thing that's prickly with green shoots coming out of the top would be like for your sight. The sound of it makes a thud sound whenever it hits the floor. Touch, it feels prickly on the bottom yet smooth on the top with crinkly edges coming off the top of the shoots. The gold feels smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the big thing is you try to describe it with each of those senses. And once you've gotten it put together, you will end up with a full poem. But I don't know what to write about. That's always the question of the hour, right? This is not going to be, it doesn't have to be the best poem you've ever written. It's just to show that you understand what's being asked of you. And so any of these pictures could help inspire what you're going to write about. Maybe you like Flat Stanley and you want to talk about him, or eyes themselves, or maybe it's an emotion that you're going to try to describe, so, like the top left picture where maybe you can think about a time where you felt that way, and you can talk about that and how it smelled when you were there, tasted when you were there, what you felt like physically when you were there, etc. And so just choose a picture, any picture, and describe it with at least 2 of the 5 senses and at least 3 adjectives. And I know you can do it. You're going to do a fantastic job, and I look forward to reading your poems very soon.